One attack and within minutes, accusations. South Asia once again stands at crossroads where truth and narrative collide. Hi, I am Arusa Riaz and this is the story of Mark-e-Haq, the mark of truth. Buried within it are the baseless allegations stretching from the Pahalgam attack to the Operation Sindoor. Let us examine the details. Kashmir has been the central point of conflict between Pakistan and India since 1947. The Kashmir issue has led to multiple wars between the two countries. Beyond outright warfare, India has repeatedly made false flag operations a routine tactic, endangering regional peace. One such operation, the Pahalgam attack, has now been exposed before the world. Pahalgam is a tourist destination in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. It is a mountainous, densely covered area, yet despite the heavy deployment of Indian Army security forces, an attack suddenly turned this peaceful valley into a symbol of terror. On 22nd of April 2025, in the Baisaran grassland near Pahalgam, Anantnag district of Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, a militant attack killed at least 28 tourists and wounded more than 20 people. But astonishingly, within minutes of the attack, Indian authorities blamed Pakistan, without any investigation or evidence. No inquiry, no proof, just a swift, rehearsed accusation. The question remains, was this truly a militant strike or the opening act of a larger false flag narrative? The first major discrepancy appears in the FIR itself. According to security sources, the Pahalgam attack FIR contains multiple irregularities that prove it was a pre-planned false flag operation. The attack site is located only 6 kilometers from the Pahalgam police station. Yet the FIR claims the attack lasted from 1:50 p.m. to 2:20 p.m. and was registered at 2:30 p.m., meaning the FIR was filed just 10 minutes after the attack ended, a logistical impossibility that strongly indicates a pre-drafted script. Furthermore, the FIR immediately names unknown cross-border terrorist as the perpetrators, showing a predetermined narrative, while the Indian government and the media falsely labelled it as a targeted killing, even though the FIR itself admits to indiscriminate firing. Most importantly, the FIR alleges the attackers came from across the Pakistan border. But Pahalgam is located over 200 kilometers from the border, separated by difficult mountainous terrain, making any silent, undetected terrorist infiltration entirely impossible, confirming that the entire story is a fabricated false flag. By 3 p.m. on that very same day, within hours of the attack, Indian social media handles and television channels had already begun broadcasting a coordinated narrative, explicitly and undeniably blaming Pakistan for the bloodshed. Yet even at that time, some voices from inside India began questioning the official narrative on logical grounds.
की जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? जिम्मेदारी तो सरकार ने लेनी चाहिए। पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी वहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी क्यों नहीं थी? क्यों निकाली गई? तो तुम्हारा इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रहा था? वो फेल्योर नहीं है, ये सरकार का फेल्योर नहीं है। ये प्लान करके मत करो।
सरकार तो गई हुई है।
आपको पर आपके हर जगह आपको मिलिट्री दिखेगी, पुलिस दिखेगी, सीआरपीएफ दिखेगी। किस लिए? बॉर्डर पे हैं तो कहाँ से आए? जहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं तो वापस कहाँ गए? इस तरीके से किया गया रिटेलिएशन नहीं हो सकता है।
The very next day after the attack, on 23rd of April 2025, the Jammu and Kashmir police released sketches of 3 suspects identified as Hashim Musa, Ali Bhai alias Talha, and a local accomplice named as Adil Hussain Joker. By 24th April, authorities announced a total reward of 60 lakh rupees with 20 lakh on each suspect for information leading to their capture. Once again, the intention was clear: to immediately fix a blame on Pakistan. However, this too unraveled as another fabricated piece of evidence. Digital forensic experts quickly noted that the sketches exhibited strikingly uniform features and stylistic patterns, strongly suggesting they were generated using artificial intelligence tools such as Midjourney and Freepik, rather than being authentic hand-drawn forensic sketches. The controversy deepened when the National Investigation Agency and other central agencies clarified that none of 3 men in the initial sketches were actually involved in the attack. Further investigation revealed that the sketches were reportedly based on an old photograph recovered from the phone of a militant named Junaid, who had been killed on December 4, 2024. Citing these revelations, India's opposition party, Congress, accused the Modi government of a major lapse in the investigation and suggested the release of fake sketches was part of a headline management strategy. Yet despite these exposures, Indian officials continue to blame Pakistan, adding yet another layer of falsehood to an already crumbling narrative. Still, on 23rd of April 2025, the very next day the fake sketches were released, India announced a series of punitive measures against Pakistan in retaliation for the attack. The Cabinet Committee on Security, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, decided to put the Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 into abeyance. Additionally, India closed its site of Kartarpur Sahib corridor indefinitely. The Kartarpur corridor, a visa-free passage connecting Gurdwara Darbar Sahib in Pakistan to the Dera Baba Nanak Shrine in India, was shut down officially in the light of current security situation. In stark contrast, Pakistan kept its side of the corridor open. India also closed the Wagah Atari integrated checkpost for all cross-border movements involving Pakistani nationals, cancelled all Pakistani visas under the SARC visa exemption scheme, and expelled 3 military advisors from the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi. These swift escalatory actions, taken within just 24 hours of the attack and without any credible investigation, strongly suggest that the Pahalgam incident was not a genuine terrorist attack but rather a pre-scripted event by India. Following the announcement on 23rd of April, India officially moved to a full trade halt, banning all imports from Pakistan and terminating direct trade. The Indian Army was also placed on a high state of alert after the Pahalgam attack near the border. In response, Pakistan announced the immediate closure of its airspace to the all Indian-owned or operated airlines. This diplomatic breakdown was accompanied by a direct military confrontation. Then, on the night of April 24-25, 2025, military officials confirmed that Pakistani and Indian troops exchanged fire on the multiple points along the LOC in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir region, with reports specifying that the firing began from the Indian side in the Poonch sector. On 25th of April and continuing into 26th April, India repeatedly initiated unprovoked firing along the LOC. Pakistan responded only by targeting Indian military posts that were shelling civilians, while India failed to provide any evidence such as drone debris or captured equipment to back its claim of cross-border militant activity. On 26th of April, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif offered a neutral, transparent international investigation into the Pahalgam attack, a proposal that China publicly supported. India, however, rejected the offer outright, exposing its complete lack of credible evidence and its predetermined intent to blame Pakistan without proof. On 1st May 2025, satellite images circulating on social media showed a clear decrease in the flow of the Chenab River. This was seen as the first practical effect of the suspension of Indus Waters Treaty, confirming that India's announcement on April 23rd was not merely rhetorical but had already begun to impact water supplies on the ground. On 2nd May 2025, former RAW Chief Amarjit Singh Dalit termed the Pahalgam attack a complete security failure. In an interview with the BBC, a rare admission from a former head of India's external intelligence agency that further undermined the official narrative of cross-border terrorism. After the Pahalgam attack, a video was widely circulated by Indian media and social media with the claim that it showed a Navy officer Lieutenant Vineet Narwal and his wife Himanshi who had been killed in the attack. The fact, however, is that the couple in the video was Ashish Seharwat and Yashika Sharma, who were completely alive and safe. When the real couple came forward, they released a video clarifying their identity. In their statement, they said they were alive and requested social media users to stop spreading the misleading information. This incident is a key piece of evidence in the larger argument that the Pahalgam attack was a calculated false flag drama by the Indian government aimed at framing Pakistan and diverting international attention. Following the Pahalgam attack, India launched Operation Sindoor in the early hours of May 6, 2025. It was a military operation involving over 24 precision missile strikes on 9 specific locations, including major cities like Muridke, Ahmedpur Sharkia in the Bahawalpur district, Shakargarh, Kotli and Muzaffarabad. The ISPR press briefing was held early in the morning on 7th May 2025. Pakistani military sources stated that India attacked at 6 different places, striking over 24 spots deep inside its territory. They claimed the attacks killed at least 8 people and wounded more than 35, including a 16-year-old girl, rejecting India's claim that there were no civilian casualties. According to Pakistani officials, the location struck included a mosque compound where the deadliest strike killed a 3-year-old girl, and 2 mosques in Muzaffarabad and Kotli were also hit. Visuals of the Bilal Mosque with a damaged minaret were circulated internationally. On 7th of May 2025, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in a televised address called India's action as act of war and vowed to avenge every drop of blood. At the same time, in the first official response to India's escalating aggression and the launch of Operation Sindoor, DGISPR Ahmad Sharif Chaudhry announced that Pakistan would respond to India's aggression at a time and place of its own choosing. Meanwhile, a parallel battle unfolded on Indian televisions. On 8th of May 2025, major news channels including India Today and Zee News broadcast a series of entirely fabricated claims that the Indian Navy had set the Karachi port ablaze, that Pakistan JF-17 jets had been shot down, and that Lahore had been captured. Some outlets even falsely reported a coup in Pakistan and the arrest of its army chief. But Pakistani officials swiftly dismantled these claims. On 9th of May 2025, during a joint press conference led by DG ISPR Lieutenant General Ahmad Sharif Chaudhry alongside senior officers from Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan Navy, announced that the Pakistan Air Force had successfully shot down multiple Indian Air Force jets, a major success of Pakistan's air defense systems in response to India's hostile actions. Official details gradually painted a clearer picture of the engagement, revealing that among the downed aircraft were 3 Rafale multi-role fighter jets, a MiG-29 Fulcrum, a Su-30 MKI heavy fighter jet, and an Israeli-made Heron drone. In meantime, a massive aerial battle between India and Pakistan involved 125+ fighter jets, described by CNN as one of the largest and longest dogfights in modern history. From a global perspective, this engagement lasted between 59 minutes and over 1 hour, involving more than 125 fighter jets in total, approximately 72 from the Indian Air Force and at least 42 from the Pakistan Air Force. Within just the first 40 minutes of the dogfight, Pakistan shot down 5 to 6 Indian jets, all while achieving a decisive 7-0 victory with 0 PAF loss. As per the briefing of Pakistan, armed forces shot down a total of 77 Indian drones, all identified as Israeli-made Harap-Lawton munitions. The engagements were conducted at beyond visual range distances of up to 200 kilometers or more, showcasing Pakistan's tactical superiority and strategic restraint. A CNN report citing a senior French intelligence official confirmed that at least one IAF Rafale had been shot down by Pakistan, marking the first combat loss for the sophisticated French-made aircraft, with the French official noting that authorities were investigating if more than one Rafale had been lost. Over the following days, Pakistani security sources revealed the specific crash sites of the downed jets, with debris and wreckage falling on the Indian side as the jets were shot down within IAF airspace locations, including Anantnag, Pulwama and Ramban districts in IIOJK, as well as Aknoor and Bathinda in Punjab. India with injured pilots reportedly taken to military hospitals in Srinagar, Udhampur and Aknoor. Multiple reputed sources further claimed that Pakistan's JF-17 Thunder jets armed with hypersonic missiles had successfully destroyed or disabled components of India's prized Russian-made S-400 Triumph air defense system. While Indian defense officials and Press Information Bureau immediately dismissed these claims as baseless and part of a malicious misinformation campaign, subsequent reports from Indian media appeared to add weight to Pakistan's assertions. In response to India's Operation Sindoor, which had targeted Pakistani cities and mosques, Pakistan declared its own military counter-offensive, Operation Bunyan-e Marsoos, in the early hours of May 10, 2025. The official military strategy aimed to bring India to the negotiating table, with the Pakistan army seeking to get India down to its knees in 48 hours through multiple coordinated attacks across the line of control and into Indian airspace. This operation marked a decisive shift from defensive retaliation to offensive deterrence, setting the stage for the intense military engagements that followed. The intensity and success of Operation Bunyan-e Marsoos proved to be the turning point that forced an immediate cessation of hostilities. Within 12 hours of the operation, a ceasefire was reached under unique diplomatic circumstances. Following extensive damage to Indian air bases and air defense system, reports indicate that the Indian leadership seeking a face-saving exit reached out to Washington president. In the months following the crisis, Trump had repeatedly claimed credit for stopping a potential nuclear war, an admission that from Pakistan's perspective confirms which side was truly pushed to the brink. On 13th of May 2025, a soldier identified as Ram Babu Kumar Singh, reportedly an operator of an S-400 system component, was confirmed killed during the cross-border hostilities. Further evidence emerged suggesting that a total of 5 S-400 operators had been killed in the strikes, pointing to significant challenges faced by Indian air defense system. Throughout 2025 and into early 2026, President Trump has repeatedly cited the loss of Indian aircraft as a primary reason the conflict ended. The international community, however, was not content to rely only on Indian or Pakistani claims. On 9th of May 2025, the BBC's investigative unit authenticated 3 videos showing the wreckage of downed Indian jets. One video was geolocated to Bathinda, Punjab, where Indian troops were seen collecting debris identified by analysts as part of a French-made Rafale fighter. That same day, Justin Crump, a former British Army officer and CEO of the risk intelligence firm Sibylline, analyzed the footage for the BBC and stated that the wreckage appeared to include a French-made air-to-air missile commonly used on both Mirage 2000 and Rafale jets, further corroborating Pakistan's claims. On 31st of May 2025, India's Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan confirmed in a Bloomberg TV interview that India had lost a fighter aircraft.
I think what is important is that not the jet being down, but why they were being down.
Marking India's first official admission of such losses. Rather than specifying numbers, he shifted the focus to understanding the tactical mistake made, thereby de-emphasizing the actual scale of the loss while still acknowledging the undeniable fact of Indian air power being defeated. Further confirmation came from an unexpected quarter. On 10th of June 2025, at a seminar held at University in Jakarta, Indonesia, India's own defense attaché to Indonesia, Captain Shiv Kumar, acknowledged that Indian Air Force had lost some aircraft during the operation and that constraints imposed by political leadership had contributed to these losses. The Indian embassy later claimed his remarks were taken out of context, but the admission had already been made public. Finally, in November 2025, a report by US-China Economic and Security Review Commission for the United States Congress officially acknowledged that Indian fighters were shot down by Pakistan Air Force during the May conflict. This official recognition from an American government body provided the most authoritative confirmation yet of Pakistan's tactical victory, while simultaneously exposing the falsehoods of India's original narrative. As the months passed, the evidence became undeniable. What began as a rushed accusation blaming Pakistan within minutes of the Pahalgam attack without investigations unraveled piece by piece. The fabricated FIR, the AI-generated sketches, the immediate punitive measures, the unprovoked military aggression, and the subsequent admission of Indian losses all pointed to one conclusion. The Pahalgam attack was a pre-planned false flag operation designed to provide India with a pretext for escalation. And when the truth emerged, it was Pakistan's defense that stood firm, while India's carefully constructed narrative collapsed under the weight of its own contradictions. This is the story that Mark-i-Haq, the mark of truth, was meant to uncover. In the end, truth does not need to shout. It simply remains waiting for those willing to see it.